for fast, cheap, and reliable Madden 23 coins. Make sure you guys go check out my sponsor, AOEAH.com. Use code VENOM at checkout for 3% off your order.
Yo, what's good? That's when I'm fired here back to another video, and today we're going to be hopping into what I think is the best quarterback run scheme in Madden 23. I've seen some people go with like QB draws. Maybe that actually turns into a scheme. You never know. But we're going to be running one of my favorite pistol formations. I go over this formation, I think, for the past 2 years, if I'm remembering correctly. Someone can correct me if I'm incorrect on that. I just said correct like 5 times, but we're going to be in the pistol wing flex. I like two or three main formations in this Ravens pistol set. And yes, we are in the Ravens playbook. I like the pistol wing flex. I like the pistol spread. And lastly, I like the pistol strong slot. Those are my 3, I would say, favorite formations in this. We're going to start out with the wing flex. Let me know if you want to see more from this as well. Also, if you could drop a like and subscribe to the channel, show support for more of these videos. It definitely encourages me to bring more. So just going over some of the plays we have in here. Just start out with the run plays. You got a read option, normal read option. You have like a buck alert screen, I like that run play, zone alert screen, and then you have lead read option, which is going to be able to allow you to run it to the other side, a simple power O, and then some of the passing plays you have that I like are the PA Raven dive, flood, Y stick. I actually do like, because if you look at that wide, the outside, the X wide receiver, he's on kind of a post and you can actually smart out it, so I like that. And then you have 4 verticals. So here's what I usually just set my audibles to. Classic read option. You can go with the read option to the other side if you prefer, which generally might be a little bit better, but it's fine. We'll just come out in the lead read option. And again, we're kind of intending to run the ball a little bit more, so that's going to be how we attack. We're going to run the ball. So you want to run the ball until you have to pass. You don't want to, throw the ball 30 times when you're running this scheme. It doesn't exactly have the best passing plays, but I think it's a good, fun, balanced formation. And just because, you are running the pistol wing flex doesn't mean you have to be in all game long. You can audible to different things. You have the option audible to things like gun deuce close, which I like. And then, of course, some of those other formations like a gun wing flex. Now, starting out, we got this read option. This is the read option lead where he's going to the left. So you can make the determination on which one you guys prefer. But yeah, it's just overall a good run play. I like the pistol read options a lot, for a couple of reasons. I do like the halfback dives a ton out of pistol. Unfortunately, this formation doesn't have one. Now, as far as motioning, some of you might be thinking, would you want to motion over Mark Andrews? He would be the guy to motion, because if you motion him over, you still have Nick Boyle leading. But you see how if you noticed, a lot of people got free on that play, particularly more than any of the plays before, or that one play before. Now you see we seem to get better blocking. So you guys can make that determination for yourself. Personally, I would just run it stock, just to avoid some of that stuff. If you were to motion over a guy, maybe you motion over Boyle and just get him over there. That would be probably your option. I'm not sure why they're going after Lamar every single play when he's a mobile quarterback, but I want to show the run a little bit without that DN crashing down on me every single play. So hopefully we can get that to work. But the halfback dive is decent. Again, I can't really control what the CPU is doing as far as them literally playing the run every single time. But obviously we're talking about how it's a QB run scheme, and I love the way that you can run with your QB there. Moving on to our next run, we're going to go into the regular read option. Now, with the regular read option, this is where maybe you can keep it off, even if they don't particularly have anyone playing the run. So you take a look at this. If you guys don't know, when you're running the read option, you hold the right trigger or the left trigger to see your play art. There's going to be one player with an R over it. That's going to be the guy you're reading. So if he rushes after the halfback, that's when you want to keep it with your QB. If he rushes or if he stays home, that's when you want to hand the ball off. So in this case, he's kind of staying home, but it's to a point where I could actually just straight up keep it with Lamar anyways. So and since he's so far out, he's actually backing up. He's not even staying home. So you could easily just keep it with Lamar if you wanted to. Now, it doesn't help that Nick Boyle blocked 0 people when there was 3 people available to block, but you guys kind of understand. So maybe you want to motion this guy out. I guess he just really doesn't block anything, but you can kind of cut it up the middle. Now, of course, you want a QB with a lot of carrying. I'm not sure. I know some of you guys, a lot of people using Rodgers still and those kind of quarterbacks, so you might want to have a good backup that you can actually put into the scheme. And again, you don't have to run the scheme all game, but I like to mix it in because it could definitely throw someone off. But so you could have like a backup, Trey Lance type player, someone who has high carrying. I'm not sure who the best. I know Josh Allen is, but he's probably a little expensive for that kind of a player. Some other things you can do in the run game are motion over. Now you notice when you motion over the outside receiver, the slot corner will follow. And now it's going to change. So a lot of times when you motion someone over, the read player is going to change. It's now the slot corner instead of the outside corner. So you just want to keep those things in mind. But he actually crashes. Now you would have loved Duvernay to actually just pick up the outside corner that he's literally straight up against. But blocking is odd in this game. So you just want to keep that in mind. But yeah, overall, it should be a decent run up the middle. You should just be able to follow your blocks. Now, our offensive line is not the best, but usually you're good for about 5 yards when you're just running it straight up the gut. You can also just fake him out, motion maybe to this side, just to get a better rush, and that also allows you to kind of keep it with Lamar, even if that corner stays home. So those are your read options. Let's move on to some other plays. I like the power O as my other audible, as I mentioned, and I like the way that he hands this ball off and you have a pulling guard. I think it is probably your better bet for the run plays. I'll go over all those other ones where you have the screen options. Again, I wish I had a halfback dive in this formation. The halfback dive is pretty good out of some of the other ones. I think Pistol Strong Slot might have one, but here you have your power. Now, power running it to the left, you see how that could be a problem considering you have no tight ends there to seal off the edge, and then your pulling guard is really the guy you're relying on. So we'll see if motioning over helps. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. In this case, it definitely does help. So if you want to run something like a power to the left side, you do want to go ahead and motion over one of those tight ends. Otherwise, I would just stick to probably running it to the right. Again, you can follow these blocks. I like to be patient, even though I accidentally ran into my line and we picked up a couple yards, which is good. So you want to be a little bit patient. You can kind of run up there. If you have a running back who can actually fall forward, unlike Dobbins, again, you're good for like a lot of 5-yard gains for these runs. And if they're really committing to the run game, that's when I'll show you some of these passes that you can go with and you can really take advantage. Once again, with this thing, you can motion over some of these players. Now, again, a lot of times they shadow. I'm not sure exactly what warrants a shadow and what doesn't. It just depends on the play. I am in cover 2 now, so I would kind of expect them not to be shadowing. But, it is what it is. I don't necessarily understand everything about this game. But you're going to motion over Mark Andrews once again. You can either snap him early or later. That time I probably should have got it to the outside. But even, again, if you go up the middle, it's usually like a guaranteed 5 yards. Outside, it's going to be kind of where you can break those long, free touchdowns. So let's motion over Lamar, see if we can get to the outside now, which we are able to. Again, usually that linebacker's stopping us, but you're spam A when you get in those tackle engages, and you can either stiff arm them off, or what you can do is straight up just break that tackle battle. So let's move into some of these passing plays. I do want to switch to a cover 3, so I'm going to reset the audible so I can get some other stuff as well. So we'll take out these runs. I think I like the buck alert a little bit better. What's the other runs we have? Okay, we'll just put in both of those, and then we'll go over some of these passes. I'm going to start out in the Y stick, and let's go against cover 3 defensively so I can show that post off a little. So this is Y stick, and you notice you probably looked at the player, you thought it was 2 slants, which is kind of what I did when I first saw the play, but it's actually not the case. You have a deeper slant with Duvernay, and then you have a baby slant, like a step slant, kind of something how they throw in real life. So you see how Duvernay can actually get over the top of those zones. What you want to do is usually I like to smart out X, get him on that deeper post. I'll put B on like a little zig, or you can even hitch B. And then with A over here, I might just streak him and then put RB on a little in route. So you can go with something like this, a little zig, and then maybe I motion out Boyle. So concept like this I like. You can throw X deep over the top. I threw it a little bit early. We still completed it. You can throw that, of course, later, and it is open as well. So again, with B, you could put him on a little flat route, out route. You can just hitch him. Something that I don't hate doing is motioning over Mark Andrews and throwing him on a little drag or something. So you can do that. Just get a little crossing route. So again, it's not really it's going to be a super vertical scheme. You're throwing 30-yard corner routes. It's going to be a lot of these baby dots where maybe your biggest play of the drive is throwing that deeper post over the top. But, you're scheming things open. That's kind of your goal. You can throw Y on these out routes. Now, I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of these out routes, particularly out of pistol. It's not the best, maybe, but they can get open, of course. So take a look at Dobbins. He just runs it weird. He runs it like a flat route. He doesn't really run it like a man coverage beating route as he does out of gun. So I don't think it's as good, but if you want a little flat out there, it can be good against man coverage. It's not going to be of use particularly. So some other things you can do, again, you can like streak if you want. You can, maybe. And again, I'm expecting a lot of pressure, so maybe we just flat A. Then we have Boyle over here on a baby in route. Something like this you can run. Boom, you have a lot of space for Mark Andrews out there. So you can scheme out these little flat routes. And I'm going to try and open up our deep post just one more time. So flat him. And you will need a little bit of time to throw this one. But the streak actually did not help. So maybe you don't run that actually. But going back to the first setup. If you just run it normally, you should see he's able to get open. And again, you wait a little, he's at a little bit more room. So hopping into the next plays, we have PA Raven dive, which I think is probably the best play. And then you have flood. Flood is going to have a really deep post, which can help for cover 2 and cover 4. PA Raven dive has this nice post shot I love with Mark Andrews. I'll usually smart out him. That should get him a little bit shorter. And then what you can do is like a little slant. You can just run this play kind of like this, where you have maybe RB on a flat. You can leave him on a streak, but just slant RB. I like to keep the play action. Since it is a PA dive, you notice that I love the dive, so I think it's a good play action to run, even though there's not a dive in this formation for some odd reason. That post route is killer, so you can run it with something like a hitch over here with Bateman. You can motion over this guy, and you can actually motion snap like this, which is one of the things I love about the formation. So that can be helpful. Now you notice with some motion, it brings some zones in. Be wary of that. So you don't want to end up messing yourself up. But that is something I don't hate. Doing something like this maybe. Again, you motion in Duvernay. Maybe you just motion him in a step. And you notice that actually brings down some kind of a zone where Mark Andrews schemed open even more than usual. But overall, I mean, you can do these things where maybe you're able to motion out Boyle and get this weird ag. These don't really work anymore, but maybe if you have some kind of a 4th and 15, you have Donald Parham out there instead of Nick Boyle, maybe that's a thing that you can actually go to. Another thing that maybe you run is just some kind of an out route over here if it's man coverage, and you can maybe motion over a drag. You can even block RB here, so you can throw a Y on a little out route to the opposite side if you'd like. But obviously, be smart about it. You want to throw these short passes if you have them. Don't force it down the field. And again, I keep saying that, but having some kind of hot routes would help. If I was able to put Duvernay on a corner out here, and then maybe I wheel Dobbins, I can flat B, slant X like this, flat RB as well. I can motion Duvernay a step, and that's just a good way to open things up as well. Now, the wheel routes, they don't really run good out of pistol at all. They used to be really good. They're not as good anymore, so I don't prefer running those if I don't have to. But, overall, it's not a bad play. A little backside in route. You can get them off guard with a little quick snap a lot of the times. Just make your read. And, boom, easy money. So, hopping into our next play, we're going to go into the flood. Now, flood is a solid play. You can just run this play stock if you'd like. You have a little baby hitch in route. Sometimes I like to just put Andrews on a little streak. Again, it's not like a super surgical passing scheme. You don't have to go with all these cool concepts. You can just keep it simple. Go with things that work like seam streaks. I like to check it down to my running back. I love the table routes this year, especially if you're using freeform, which I don't have the biggest freeform on right now, but with the biggest freeform, you can definitely get those guys open even more. Then you have a deep post with X. That's good against man coverage. Against cover 3, it's not going to be as good. You have an out route, which is going to be good against man. Maybe a little bit better against cover 2. Not super good right here. So maybe some things that I like to go with are, just a little backside drag. You can block your tight end and just run it like this. So you get that 6-man protection, and then you have your drag. Now, the in route doesn't run as good if you have tight end apprentice. That would help putting A on a post. So keep that in mind. So you can set up maybe A on a drag, RB on a flat, and then it's a little in route. And you see how he's kind of opening up. If he's a little bit shorter, you could throw him in that window. You can't really throw it. Let me know if you want a gameplay on this as well. Some of these stuff is kind of hard. I'm blanking on some of the setups I like to run, but maybe streak B. And there you see a little seam streak. So just opening up simple stuff. Again, you want to get him to commit to the run. You want to run the ball first. But if you're able to switch to the pass, you definitely open some things up. Now, with these other runs, you have the buck alert screen. This run is very risky. It's why you can tell it's not my audibles. It can be decent, but maybe in the screen game, if you're able to get that pass out there, maybe a better release and a little bit more speed, you can pick up some stuff over there. But now the zone alert screen I don't particularly like, because you notice that it motions these guys in, which is a tell. And the handoff is really slow. Now, if you're a patient runner, it's not too big of a concern. But if he has a gap shoot style defense, I might try and bring a run defense tomorrow. That could be problematic for sure. So he hands off so slow. That gives you a little bit of time to throw the ball out there. So you definitely accidentally lob that ball up. But maybe that helps out. But again, if you're running this play, you want to come out in it. You don't want to ever have to audible to this play. Because you see we're in Y stick, we audible zone alert screen. He's going to be like, okay, well, he's running zone alert screen because that's the only play that comes out in this kind of a set. But you notice how our left tackle actually got out there. So maybe the delay screen is a little bit better and you want to wait on it as much as possible. But overall, it's going to do a video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you drop a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. No. I want to show one more concept. That's to motion over this player and turn him into a corner route, which is an underrated concept. So maybe run something like this, and you can motion over X, turn him into a corner route. Now, this is going to be a better setup with more space, but that is something you can do. Anyways, that's going to do the video. If you guys enjoyed, drop a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel down below, and peace. I'm out.